Greetings! So I have been seeing a lot of threads on Reddit and comments under my videos claiming that being a low 6 digit is actually not all that bad nowadays. After all, technically, rank 120,000 is the 99th percentile of the player base, so they cannot be all that bad, right?
Not so fast, Scrubland!
To be honest, making a parody video about this mentality works much better at making people thinking like this aware of how silly they sound. A 10-minute discussion video may come off as condescending, but from my experience, no matter how inoffensive you make your point, it will just go over most people's head and they will just focus on the packaging. Whether it is a serious video with well thought out and clear points, or a parody video with funny edits and witty jokes. But anyway, let's look at the 12 million player thing first. Most of these accounts are actually banned or just low-profile multi-accounts. As you can see, there are hundreds of accounts being banned every single day. I cannot even imagine how many accounts are under the radar for various reasons, like new players making different accounts because they forgot their passwords, or just simply don't know that making another account for SS farming is absolutely not allowed. If we take daily 300 accounts being banned as a fairly conservative average, then we already get a yearly number greater than 100,000. So technically, being in the 99th percentile is really misleading. But Verito, it doesn't matter how many people are behind me. I can pass 6-star maps, so I'm basically a 4-digit, alright? I mean, your top ranks are 6 stars as well. You are almost 3 digits, so yeah, I'm basically the same level as you. Alright, let's talk about the Dunning-Kruger Effect. The Dunning-Kruger Effect basically explains why your friend who invited you to OS with 40 hours of game time acts like he is a top player. In very simplistic terms, bad players will think they are good, because they don't know what makes a good player. For these players, passing airmen with 60% accuracy is pretty much the same as being able to play them up comfortably. Now, the symptoms of the Dunning-Kruger effect don't appear until the player acquires a very basic knowledge of the game. But that's basically all they have. They have no capacity to understand anything beyond those basics, so it will appear to them that those basics are all there is to OS. However, the more experience they get, the better they realize that there is so much more to the game than they initially thought. Which kind of explains why so many top players are emo little bitches.
Look at me, I'm a top 50 player and I can DTS as Scarlet Plus, I'm basically a 9-digit. Just shut up, alright? Seriously.
But of course, throwing around terms like 6-digit and such is not really accurate due to how broken the PP system is and how little mappers care about the integrity of the ranked section. But let's save the mapper witch hunting for another video where I will tell you guys for the 100th time that a bad PP system doesn't morally justify the mappers to abuse it to their heart's content. We are here to talk about scrubs, those ain't all that after all. So yeah, you might say that there are a few underrated 6 digits, but to that I would say you would have to try really hard to play competitively and yet still remain a 6 digit. It is such an astonishingly low rank that you could basically get out of it, even if you were a decent player in a very underrated thing, like alternating maps, and that's the only type of play you submit. Yes, it is a generalization, but it is a pretty accurate generalization, and a few people those are halfway decent players yet still in the 6 digit will not really care about the stereotype, because they know that they are not the type of 6 digit others are talking about. Yeah, okay, Verto, but don't you think you are putting down new players a bit too harshly? Yes, I admit that I'm a bit harsh, but I don't think humoring them that they are the next cookies will help them in any way. If they truly wanted to improve, then it is counterproductive encouraging them when they want to buy a tablet after 12 hours of gameplay. To be truly good, they need to realize that they have weaknesses, a lot of weaknesses, and they need to work on them in order to actually improve. You know, with hard work. That's the essence behind the advice of play more. It isn't about being mean towards the new players as experienced players. It's just questions like, how do I overcome a wall? with 40 hours of gameplay comes off as irritating to players with more than 1,000 hours of gameplay, even several thousands of hours. Please, our wars last several times longer than your entire host game time. Do you think people get good at things overnight, and if you fail to set a top score on a bad day, it's instantly a wall you can't overcome? Give me a fucking break. When experienced players advise new players to stick with mouse, it isn't about mouse scan everything, although it kind of is. However, playing with certain limitations actually help developing good habits. It makes new players rely on their raw skills instead of the tools they are using. I mean, why learn snapping when you can just paint triangles with a tablet? Yes, look at that. Very nice. In all seriousness, inexperienced players should just focus on enjoying the game. In fact, everyone should just focus on enjoying the game, but after a few thousand hours, it is very rare that players can enjoy the intrinsic elements of the game without additional aspects. They need stuff like competition and ranking system as a kind of a crutch to keep them enjoying the game. For new players though, not so much. They can still enjoy blissfully clicking on circles without worrying whether they got mental blocks on that one map everyone else around their rank FC'd. After all, there are hundreds and thousands of generic maps for inexperienced players to master the basics. If they need serious competition after a full afternoon worth of gameplay, well, I'm afraid their host career isn't going to be very long. They are just going to get bored without making any significant progress. Obviously, this Dunning-Kruger thing does not apply to players who just enjoy game for what it is. This is more for inexperienced players, those are desperate to improve with very minimal overall effort put into the game. Believe me, if you can't handle a little bump in your improvement, you are sure as hell not prepared to what will come to you in the later stages of the game, after all those noob gains are over. So what do you guys think? Were any of you like this in the past? Or do you think I'm just a big mean bully? Let me know down in the comments. I'm sure you do.